on the main card.
okay,
Molly McCann and then Carol Rosa.
Oh yeah, no, okay.
Yeah.
There's
so there was 3 total. Now there's only 2.
Okay, that makes me feel better.
In the co-main event in the evening, this is a huge surprise to me. In the bantamweight division, Corey Sandhagen, 13-2, going up against 23-8-1 Frankie Edgar. But Corey Sandhagen just dusted Marlon Moraes.
Right.
How is he not either in title contention or fighting a top 3 guy?
I don't think that he's not in those things, but I think that Edgar asked for a big name after the Munoz fight. Maybe it was in his contract even to if he gets a win over Pedro Munoz, he gets a big name. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And Sandhagen don't seem like the type of kid to turn anybody
down.
Never
turns nothing down.
Plus, the idea of beating a legend on his resume,
it gives
you a big thing.
That's valid.
I think a lot of guys are scared to fight a legend who's making a resurgence because, if you get beat by the old guy, your run kind of stops.
Yeah, kind of like Yair Rodriguez when he faced Frankie Edgar, and Frankie Edgar dusted him.
Let that segue into Frankie Edgar's stats. 18-8 in the UFC, which is better than most veterans of the UFC. I mean, former lightweight champion, then was at lightweight, featherweight, now at bantamweight. Got wins, big wins. The trilogy with Gray Maynard. Win over Charles Oliveira at 155 pounds. Beat Uriah Faber. KO'd Chad Mendez. Stopped Jeremy Stevens. One of the toughest dudes to stop. Stopped Yair Rodriguez.
Big time.
Decision wins over Cub Swanson twice. 3 wins over BJ Penn.
Damn.
3 times that he fought BJ Penn and won every time. He had the big loss versus Brian Ortega. First time he was ever stopped. Decision loss versus Max Holloway. Big stoppage loss against Korean Zombie. And wins the split decision versus Pedro Munoz this past August. Which is hard to agree with.
Yeah, it was hard to agree with.
Hard to argue with, but hard to agree with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I agree.
Does that earn him the likes of Corey Sandhagen? No. Corey Sandhagen 6-1 in the UFC. Wins versus John Lineker. Rafael Assunção had the bad submission loss versus Aljamain Sterling in June, but then comes back in October to KO Marlon Moraes in spectacular fashion. And showed a better game than ever in that fight after his loss. I think he's only going to the top. I definitely see him as a title challenger.
Well, yeah, because you have Petr Yan
versus Aljamain
Sterling. I would, in my mind, Corey Sandhagen is next in line.
And this could, if Frankie Edgar was to win this fight against Sandhagen, it could propel him to that spot.
Correct.
I
would not dispute that
because of Frankie Edgar's past and the likes of Sandhagen.
Yeah, what he did to Moraes was incredible. So, but I can't go against Sandhagen. I think he's got this.
Yeah, I think Corey can do it. There's as I just run through it in my head, there's ways Frankie can win.
The wrestling.
He can always win. It's Frankie Edgar.
Yeah.
But
if he gets him on the ground, he could be in trouble.
And he's so tough. He's so hard to finish.
Yeah.
But Sandhagen, that kid's something else.
All right. In the main event of the evening, in the heavyweight division, Alistair Overeem, 47-18 with 1 no contest, going up against 32-8 Alexander Volkov. This seems to be a really good matchup.
I like this fight a lot.
Yeah.
Like I said, last chance. And you can't hate on the Reem. The Reem looks pretty good lately.
Yes, he's been very good.
As far as the last opportunity at a title run, this is definitely it for him. He's fought everybody. 12-7 in the UFC. Fantastic record. Looks pretty good. Wins versus Frank Mir, Stefan Struve, Junior Dos Santos, Andrei Arlovsky, Mark Hunt, Fabricio Verdun, Then, big losses to Stipe, Francis Ngannou, Curtis Blades.
Yeah, that was a bad one.
KO loss versus Rosenstrike. However, without that KO loss versus Rosenstrike,
he dominates him.
He has that whole fight in hand.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for that one strike, and you could argue it was a little early on the stoppage. It was a good knockdown.
Yeah.
But he wasn't maybe out all the way.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But ain't mad about it. Besides that, though, without that, he would have 5 wins in a row, because he seems to be a ground and pound wizard now.
Yeah.
Sergey Pavlovich.
And the ability to just throw people to the ground.
Yeah. His takedowns are fantastic. Yeah. Pavlovich succumbed to the ground and pound in round 2. Alexei Oleinik, first round, I believe it was. Then Rosenstrike fight. But then he rebounds when he fights Walt Harris.
Yeah.
Again, with the ground and pound stoppage.
But also some great fortitude,
yeah.
Because he almost succumbed to his normal. Alistair Overeem gets knocked out.
Was in trouble.
But he used his veteran abilities and was able to hold on this time.
Right, and then same thing in the last fight, wore out Augusto Sakai, and then took him down, beat him up with nasty ground and pound, and got a stoppage again.
Yes.
He's a big threat, and you can never, doubt that he can knock you out on the feet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Volkov, 6-2. He's a new beast, and I don't know. I like this kid a lot. Super, super huge striker with big power.
Mm-hmm.
Super long. KO wins.
Good cardio.
KO wins versus Stefan Struve. Getting better at the wrestling. KO'd Fabricio Verdun. Suffered the bad KO. Lost to Derek Lewis when he was winning that fight.
Mm-hmm.
But got hit with a nasty shot. And still almost survived until he ate the shots on the ground. But then responds with a great decision win versus Greg Hardy. Great fight against Curtis Blades, where he tried everything. Never gave in. Like, his will was never broken.
Yeah.
No matter how long Curtis Blades was just humping his legs.
Oh man.
Because he definitely was.
Yeah.
He was real scared to trade.
Yeah. He was laying and praying on him. Yeah.
He was real scared to trade with Volkov, and but then responds in the last fight with the huge TKO of Walt Harris.
Mm-hmm.
With the body kick,
perfectly
placed, nasty.
That was that the front kick?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
they thought it might have been a low blow at first, but it was so perfect.
It was so perfect.
Yeah. I don't know. Reem got to take him down.
Reem's got to take him down. But
I think he could do it there because of what we've seen.
Yeah.
Against the likes of Blades, you know what I mean? That he can be controlled on the ground. Blades is perhaps a different level of wrestler than Reem. I mean, Reem, like we said, his takedowns have become really good, but as good as Curtis Blades.
See, and I will say this. I almost disagree with that statement. It's not that they're so good. He's just so strong. He's just ripping people to the ground.
Mm-hmm. And he's doing it awkwardly.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like it's not about technique. It's about pure brute strength, and he has the cardio to back it up, which is cool.
He's never going away in a 5-round fight.
Yeah, so I think that if he can keep it on the ground, he has a chance. But I feel like after what Blades did,
to stop Volkov. But yeah, I think with the wrestling defense that he showed in the Blades fight. And the ground and pound defense, to not get hurt against Curtis Blades. And how many times did he stand back up, even though Blades put him back down?
And I think Volkov has what it takes to keep the distance.
I think he's improved a hell of a lot since then, too. I mean, he had to fight the likes of Walt Harris. I know he wasn't worried about the takedown down then, but I'm sure he continued to add to his wrestling ability in that camp. And
I think Volkov has what it takes to keep this as a kickboxing match.
I totally agree. And I think if Volkov loses, he can still make a further run. He's a young guy, but this is last chance for Overeem.
Absolutely, 100%.
And I think he will retire if he loses. I think that's like a definite, especially with the way.
I mean, he did say that it was a last run.
With the way his interviews have been, this is a last run. You know, I think Volkov's gonna get him.
I gotta go with Volkov.
I'm not a distance striking.
No matter how
it's too powerful.
Well, no matter what corners Overeem turns, I believe he always has that. There's always gonna be that the end of the road, and I believe Volkov is the end of the road for him, because after Volkov, he can't face any of the competition above that.
Right.
So.
I don't have a timer going because
I don't have a timer going either. So I think we're in good time to talk about some news.
Yeah, I think we got a little time.
And stretch it out. I know we wanted to talk about the mess going on in the lightweight division.
It's confusing.
It's super confusing.
I'm kind of confused about a lot of championships. Like, there seems to be a lot of stalemates going on. Yeah. But that division especially.
Especially that division.
Because of the talent.
We obviously know with the win over Conor McGregor, and the fact that he was at one point the interim champ, you gotta give Dustin Poirier the honorary interim lightweight champ. Right. So now we need to find him an opponent. When Khabib first vacated the title, you have 6 names on the list.
Well, that's the thing, because Dana hasn't called it vacated. He's still listed as a champion.
He is still listed as a champion. But every single bit of news we've gotten from Dana White, Khabib said if he saw something interesting. Well, Khabib said he didn't see nothing interesting.
Enough.
He didn't see anything interesting. He says he's leagues above these guys. So I believe that whether you want to call it a cop-out, whether you want to call it his belief in himself, I don't think Khabib is going to return.
I agree.
Maybe if you see someone run go on a title run, say Poirier gets it and he wins 2 or 3 fights, or he loses his next fight, and that person, whoever it is, runs the title for maybe 4 or 5 fights. Maybe Khabib comes in and says, "No, I'm the real champ. Let me just prove it to you real quick." I don't know, but I think Khabib has a business to run. Yeah. A fight promotion that he wants to get guys into the UFC through, and I have zero belief in a return from him in the imminent future.
Yeah, I see him just moving on to things. They talk about the George St. Pierre fight, which I don't even.
The only reason I will say this is the only way I would want to see George St. Pierre fight Khabib, and that would be in a submission exhibition match. Yeah.
Okay.
Like
a
grappling match,
because that's what we want to see them face off against.
Exactly. I mean, Khabib is a submission expert. George St. Pierre is a submission expert. Yeah. So no punching. Just see a grappling match. I would love to see that.
Because that's why people want them to fight anyways. Because they're probably the 2 most dominant grappling champions.
Correct. So I would love to see something the likes of that, but beyond that, I don't really want to see George St. Pierre.
George never made 155, never looked like he could make 155. Why would Khabib go up to 170? I don't like any of it.
I don't like any of it at all. I
always thought it was silly.
Yeah.
But I don't like the stalemate of there being no announcement of who is going to fight for the title.
Correct.
Or because Dana just wants somebody to fight Khabib for the title. But like you said, he's not coming back. Dustin obviously deserves to be number 1 for the title.
Yeah. And now he needs an opponent.
Who fights him?
Now, the only names on the list when Khabib said he was retiring, Dustin Poirier, Conor.
Right.
Charles Oliveira, Tony Ferguson.
Yes.
Justin Gaethje, Michael Chandler. Right. And people kind of put Dan Hooker's name in there.
Right.
Well, Chandler just dusted Dan Hooker, right, and what could be argued a flawless victory.
Right, Chandler eliminated that argument.
So that argument's done.
And made sure to put his name up in there. Yeah.
Justin Gaethje and Charles Oliveira have both in embarrassing form, dusted Tony Ferguson. He's out the list.
Right, so that knocks Tony down to the bottom.
To the bottom of the list.
Even below Chandler.
Yeah, even below Chandler.
Right.
I wouldn't mind seeing. I wouldn't mind seeing Tony Ferguson fight Chandler.
Right.
That's a fight, or Conor McGregor to kind of give himself number 1 contention spot.
I do think Tony still deserves a big fight.
Yes.
But is he in talk for the title fight now? No. Okay.
The only thing that makes sense to me.
So he's down. I mean, Conor just got beat.
Yep.
Do you run the trilogy for the lightweight title?
No.
No. I don't agree that Conor deserves that either. So we agree on that.
So the only thing I see making sense.
We got the two guys that beat Tony Ferguson.
Justin Gaethje versus Charles Oliveira to fight Poirier for the title.
I absolutely like them fighting for the number one contender spot. I mean, Poirier has the stoppage win over Gaethje.
Yeah.
Has
he beat Oliveira?
No, Oliveira untested against Khabib, though, as Poirier and Gaethje and Conor are.
Correct.
You know what I mean? We also could have said that before about Tony, but he's been tested against Gaethje and Oliveira and failed that.
And failed those tests.
Yeah.
So that to me the only thing that makes sense. You got
because of Chandler beating Hooker doesn't put him in the title shot exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I wouldn't mind him fighting Justin Gaethje, whereas Gaethje has the loss to Poirier and loss to Khabib.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And Oliveira doesn't have either of those. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
me personally, I think Oliveira is the only person who...
If you're going to make a title fight now.
Yeah, right now. If you said right now, who's the title fighter? Charles Oliveira has had the best rise. No fall.
Yeah.
He literally
Oliveira
dusted... Yeah, he literally dusted the dude who was supposed to fight Khabib before Gaethje took the fight.
Right.
So that, to me, makes the most sense. If you need a fight to prove someone fights Dustin Poirier, then the only fight that makes sense to me in my mind is Gaethje versus Charles Oliveira.
And I agree with that because Chandler doesn't deserve Oliveira over beating Hooker.
Correct.
I mean, there's an argument for that.
There's always an argument because it's exciting.
I don't agree with it because of what Oliveira is earned, and he seems to be in a place that he wants nothing but a title fight.
Yeah, exactly.
He thinks
I would like to see him face... I mean, there was talk of him versus Ferguson.
They actually offered, I heard, for the next pay-per-view coming, Usman versus Burns, there was talk of a short notice fight between Michael Chandler and Charles Oliveira.
Oh, Oliveira, I turned that down.
And he did.
Yeah.
Because number one, short notice don't make sense, especially against that opponent.
Yeah.
So
I wouldn't accept that fight.
Right, and that's exactly what the camp said. That respectfully, it has nothing to do with being worried about Michael Chandler. You know what I mean?
I agree.
But it doesn't do nothing for his career. Right. I think he would say the same against the Justin Gaethje fight. So that leaves things in more of a stalemate.
Yeah.
Because you got guys saying, like Poirier saying, no, Chandler's not worthy of getting a title shot against me unless he beats one of these other guys. You know what I mean? And everybody agrees, even Michael Chandler.
Yeah.
And Oliveira wants Poirier for the title. That's it. He's got his mind locked on that.
Yeah.
And Poirier said, he ain't ready for it. He said, let Chandler and Oliveira fight for that belt. Then maybe he'll want to fight one of them.
See, I gotta disagree with Dustin Poirier here. Charles Oliveira has beaten high-level competition. If there was anybody who does deserve the immediate shot, it would be Charles. Because, I mean, Charles Oliveira, if Khabib doesn't retire, Charles Oliveira is the next dude to fight Khabib.
And I think it's because, though, I think the mindset comes from everybody who's right at the top.
Fought Khabib.
But
you fought Khabib and lost, so technically you've proven nothing.
Right. So, I don't know. I think they measure, like, a lightweight fighter by, like, whether they fought Khabib or not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and
which is dumb. Because
that is dumb.
One, he's gone.
And if you want to be realistic, like
Oliveira
Michael Johnson knocked out Poirier and almost knocked out Khabib, so technically he did better than you. So should he not get to fight you since he has beat you?
That's what I mean, if that's the standard.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's a tough one to me. I gotta say, the only thing that can make sense to me in any world is that Charles Oliveira fights Justin
I'm okay
Gaethje.
with I'm okay with like Oliveira wanting just Poirier,
Yeah,
and I
me
think
too.
that Poirier should accept it.
He should accept it
You
because
know, the more I think about it, I don't have a problem with that being for the lightweight title. Oliveira has proved enough. Dustin obviously has. He has to fight for the title. Who else better than Oliveira?
Because and I give Poirier that you are the guy who fights because not like you were the interim champ and you knocked out Conor. The only person to finish Conor in the lightweight division was Khabib.
I do believe that there will be the UFC bias continue to be UFC bias for Khabib and Conor, which they have.
Yeah.
So I have a nasty feeling that they're gonna force this trilogy fight to be for the lightweight title.
Ah, man, that's a tough one. Because I mean, okay, he did only beat Conor once, and Conor did knock him out.
He got the pole.
Yeah, he does got pulled, and his name rings out. I would say this: I wouldn't hate the rematch, and hypothetically speaking, Conor they do the rematch, and Conor knocks out Poirier. Like, does that make him any less of a champ because he kind of skipped the line?
Yeah.
Conor is a habitual line skipper.
He is.
So
he is.
He's a habitual line skipper. So I mean, it is what it is. His name rings out and it sells pay-per-views. Mm-hmm. So the biggest pay-per-view match was him versus Khabib. So realistically, it makes sense. So, but I personally, as a fan, I want to see Charles Oliveira get the title shot versus Poirier. As a realist, I think him and Justin Gaethje make the most sense to fight to see who fights Poirier. Yeah. But at the end of the day, can we just get a title shot going on?
Absolutely. You know.
Even if it's Michael Chandler, at the end of the day, I just want to see the light heavyweight division have a title.
Lightweight division, yeah.
Lightweight division have a title.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. Yeah. Something just has to happen, and I don't like the stalemate stuff because it leaves guys in waiting. Because what happens if they make this trilogy be for the title? Then Oliveira says, "No, I don't want to fight Gaethje. I don't want to fight nobody unless it's for the winner of this title shot." Then
Charles Oliveira gets pushed out the way.
Then he got to sit and wait, and then he loses his, shot, like, or he fights Gaethje like Tony did, and then loses his shot because he gets his face mashed, and then he's never the same again.
I mean, at the end of the day, if you fight Justin Gaethje and you lose, then even if you could beat Dustin Poirier, Gaethje was going to come take the title from you anyway. So, like...
Perhaps.
Yeah. So, I mean, granted, winning is winning, but...
That should be how the outlook. Yeah. You know what I mean? That whoever's there and deserves to fight you, you should just fight them.
Yeah. Like, because if you think you're championship material, you could beat anybody. Yeah.
And then process of elimination.
Which is why I respect Tony Ferguson for even taking the fight against Justin Gaethje instead of waiting for Khabib, because he could have fought Khabib, and what if he could have beat Khabib? What if Tony Ferguson is the answer to Khabib, and not only did he not get his opportunity, he's probably never going to get it again. Right. So that's a tough one.
A lot of interesting stuff in that division, and I hope they figure that out.
And we got one or two other pieces of news.
Yeah, if we want to talk about it, we might be over time now. We could give a minute to talk about Ben Askren and Jake Paul. I guess it's combat sports.
It is combat sports news. We did talk about when he fought Nate Diaz. So
Nate Robinson.
Nate Robinson.
Yeah, I mean, it is a pro boxing match. They both have to get licensed.
Yeah.
April 18th, I believe, the date that I seen last time. I don't know who else. They'll probably throw some other people on the card.
It surprises me that Ben Askren would take this fight. One, you have terrible boxing.
They offered him big money, it sounds like.
I mean, I would assume so.
And he's just gonna fight for money. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a bad idea. I think because he's looking at it, that he probably can't get much more embarrassed.
If you lose to an internet sensation boxer, like, I feel like that is more embarrassing.
Maybe not to him. You know what I mean? We don't know what the man had to really go through after taking that flying knee.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And then the submission lost to Damian Maia.
After being unstoppable. Yeah. Even his confidence. Like, he had the real confidence.
Yeah. Yeah. That genuine confidence.
Yeah.
But then he said,
and then
the
got
only
genuinely humble.
Yeah, and then he said the only reason why he was even fighting, he said he didn't like to fight, he liked to win.
Right.
And now you're gonna go for a third loss?
Yeah, I don't know, because nothing that I've ever seen from Ben Askren tells me that he could beat Jake Paul in the boxing.
No.
Like, I think he's gonna get beat up.
Oh, I think he's gonna get pummeled.
You know?
Like, I don't think it will be as bad as what happened to Nate Robinson. I don't think he's...
Because of the fortitude of Askren. I mean, how much did the flying knee take away from him? I don't know. Maya hit him with a bunch of good shots that he took.
I don't think it's as much about his I don't think it's gonna be about his
really
chin.
Good chin before the Masvidal fight. He displayed a
Yes.
lot of chin
And
in
I mean,
one championship.
A solid flying knee to the neck is probably
That
gonna
was
knock out anybody.
And he'd come running across the ring.
Yeah, like two trains
that
collided.
That was a car crash.
Yeah. So okay, but you're not like, I mean, unless you've been like for some reason hardcore training in boxing, your boxing skills were terrible. I don't want to say terrible, but they were bad.
Really bad. The only thing he ever concentrated on was throwing punches to enter for a takedown.
Correct.
And
there's no takedowns here.
Yeah. I don't know, man. You can't get a couple of months of striking training and think that you can beat up a kid who's naturally fast and naturally powerful. A lot younger than you. Yeah. Shows good composure. You know, mixes it up. Like, he fights for real. And I think he's got some decent enough skills to knock out the likes of Ben Askren.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, beating a real fighter like Ben Askren, like, that just propels him up higher, because it was his brother who was supposed to fight. Maybe was it him?
They said they're postponed.
Yeah.
But they still want to make it happen. I don't.
But is it him or is it his brother?
His brother Logan is supposed to
okay.
fight Mayweather, I guess.
See that, and that's weird to me too. You got Jake Paul on the rise in the boxing, the celebrity boxing career. Like, why would you like? I feel like that's the money fight, not Logan.
Anyways, about the fake boxing. Before we run out of time.